Hey guys, intro, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Debbie.
Hi everyone.
Hey, so guys, this is one that we've been talking about at length off camera because, guys, confession time, I call Deb much more than I should. The fact that your license says that all. But guys, this got us onto a conversation. It's just having a whinge, doing a life update with Deb. For you guys, I'll put it up here about me going to the ophthalmologist. And we realized that something that we were talking about is documentation and not necessarily NDIS or other legal documents, but for support workers and clients themselves. That basically, if you're in a SIL house, if you're in an SDA or a support worker, and there's like a restricted practice that needs to be used, or an incident between two housemates, or a
Yeah.
fall, or even a heaven forbid it ever happened on the shift, you've uncovered a medication incident.
Mm.
If it's not documentation, it's not happened. And that's where I say that the foundation soft skills for a support worker is integrity and being trustworthy, telling the truth, that
Yeah.
it can't be fixed if you're not telling people.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And you've got to be able to feel comfortable in that as a support worker. Feel comfortable about it's not dobbing someone in when if you go to a shift and you notice that they hadn't signed that they'd given the medication, or they hadn't even written in that they'd given the medication, or they haven't, or they've taken the tablets out of the wrong day, out of the web pack. And that's, like we've all done things like that and gone, oh no, I popped the wrong one, and then you tape it up, and then you've got to. But it's really important to have those incident reports written, and for those support workers to be able to acknowledge through the service provider that okay, this has happened, and I've written up medication incidents for myself because I've accidentally done a nighttime, because with the web pack sometimes you'll put your fingers on them and you'll turn them over, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like, oh, hang on a second, and you've opened the wrong one.
Yeah.
So it's not a difficult thing to do, but it's okay for the support workers to acknowledge the fact that they have made a mistake. And we're not infallible. None of us are perfect.
Oh, no.
We can all make a mistake. But it's really important for support workers to be aware and do the documentation. It does build a bit of a record in the participants folders as well, as far as okay, especially with behaviours. And I've recently gone through this. I had someone go through tribunal, and we've had to go back and go, okay, not high intensity. We didn't get high intensity funding. We got standard funding, but in order to get the high intensity funding, because the service provider had decided that it was high intensity and they were going to charge that, and I went, no, we can't do that. We've only got the standard funding, but in order to get the high intensity, because incidents, as far as an incident with a participant they think is, self-harm or injury, that kind of thing, it's not necessarily those.
No.
It can be, a massive meltdown. It can be, just different things that happen. Or if you've got a 6-hour shift and you spend your whole shift distracting them, or trying to manage behaviours, at the end of that shift, you can do an incident report where you put all of that together.
Yeah.
Like every 3 times an hour, I was distracting them from, whatever it may be.
It might be stealing someone else's food. It might be yelling at another client.
Going into
spitting,
someone else's bedroom.
Undressing when there's other people there.
All of that kind of stuff. And even though it doesn't equate to an incident, it does equate to behaviours that need to be acknowledged. And you can put that together in an incident report, and that will go through to the service provider, and they'll go, oh, okay, maybe this needs addressing with the psychologist. We can send it through to them. So then it becomes part of that participant's file. It becomes part of, okay, these behaviours are building. So as you go along, you can go, okay, well, these are the strategies that we can utilise to manage this better. So we can do all of that kind of thing, but it needs to be written down. If you just do a verbal handover and go, oh yeah, by the way, I've had to distract them from the TV all day, or oh, I've had to keep them out of that, they keep wanting to go into their co-tenant's room all day, or oh, they're stealing the paper from the co-tenant's table, or they're shredding paperwork from the co-tenant's room, things like that, where you're doing those. They're not incidents, but it's a behaviour that needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
And, if you can put that down, and it should be in your case notes anyway.
Yeah.
So case notes become legal documentation if there's a major incident and it's investigated. The NDIS can say, well, we want to see your case notes. We want to see what's going on in those case notes. So case notes for support workers aren't about their opinions or what they project onto a situation. It's about what that situation is. It's about being very factual and keeping it factual, because that can be used in court. The same with your medication forms, anything like that that's, it hasn't been signed. Well, that's a medication incident. You've opened the packet wrong. That's a medication incident. I had a fellow one time that he would be picking up extra packets of Panadol, and I went to the house and it was like, oh, Deb, we found a packet of Panadol in his room. I was like, well, where did he get that from? So we went and talked to him about that, and he said, oh, I've got others. And we turned out his drawers, and he had nearly 10 packets of Panadol, which he was just taking whenever he felt like it. You can overdose on Panadol.
You can. And it's one of the most easiest drugs to overdose on, because for those of you who don't know, for coming over to content creation, I did 15 to 20 years, depending on who you ask, in community pharmacy. And it is so easy to accidentally overdose. And I know even you and I were having a conversation, because I have peripheral neuropathy. Someone who is very close in my life who wants the absolute best for me said, we'll just have some downstairs, take it when you go in bed. It needs to be documented so they can help me if I'm constantly taking Panadol. We need to investigate why. I need to, as a high functioning person, need to then be the adult in the room and pick up the phone, see the doctor, see the neurologist, see the neuropsychiatrist to do that.
But if it's not documented, you can't, it's not noted that, oh, hang on, you've had, 6 Panadol in the 12-hour stint, or you've had, too much Panadol.
Yes.
Why are you taking so much? Why, so that's what it does. It makes that why question come out when there's, when there's documentation. So the documentation is very important, and it's, and it's important for nominees and parents and guardians to, ask. I want to, can I have a look at the documentation? Of course you can. That's you have a right to ask. I think sometimes a lot of nominees don't realise that. But you have the right to say, well, oh, do you mind if I check the medication form, just to make sure, and it keeps the service providers on their toes, keeps the support workers on their toes a bit too, because the support workers can get a bit complacent sometimes, and it's easy to do when you work in the same house all the time, because it's just, when behaviours happen, it's like, oh no, that's just how Andrea is.
Yeah.
She's just like that.
Yeah.
And but it's when a new support worker comes in that they go, oh, hang on a minute, that's a behaviour. But because
Yeah.
the support workers that have been there, for a long time working with that person are just like, oh no, that's just how they are. But no, it is actually behaviour. So unless this documentation happens, the quality of life for that participant can slide without even being
Yeah.
acknowledged, because it's just something that happens over time. So it is good to have different people come, not all the time. You don't want a revolving
No.
door with support workers. That's the last thing you need. It's good to have a good solid team, but you also need those other people that come and go and
Yeah.
can be available then for when people are away, and the participant knows them.
Yes.
So, but it does give that different perspective.
And from what I have seen also is really important to be signing your proper legal name. I've had support workers who were signing it with the wrong name. Hey guys, so this is Editing Andrea here. So guys, we actually had to split that video into 2 parts as well. But guys, as we've said, documentation is so important as well. And guys, this is why we're making these videos, because if you guys don't know, you don't know. And so guys, again, 70% of you guys are unsubscribed. So come on. What's stopping you from subscribing? So if you can like, share, subscribe, comment, and especially if you're a support worker, what is your culture like in your organisation? Have you chosen to go private? Why have you gone private? And your boundaries. So guys, I'll see you guys in the next video.